Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Nosebleed Seats. I'm Chris Lee. Once again, thank you so much for joining me. There's always a lot of stuff out on the internet you guys can be watching, and I always appreciate you taking the time to tune in to the Nosebleed Seats. Let me introduce my guest today, Mr. Everything, King of the Cruiserweights, J.C. Michaels, former JW Heavyweight Champion, and all kinds of other titles that I can't think of right now.
Yep.
But how you doing, Mike? J.C. Michaels?
Doing pretty good.
Good. And always the CEO of Me, Myself, and I, Justin MacIntyre. Justin, how are you, man?
Good to be here.
Good. He shook my hand.
See?
Oh, okay.
I'm a
Too
gentleman.
good?
Yeah, I'm King of the Cruiserweights.
All right, how are you guys?
I'm good. I'm beautiful. It's a beautiful day.
Good. Well, here to talk a lot of stuff about Central Illinois Wrestling, what's been going on, man. So I appreciate you guys joining me today. Let's get right into it, man. What do you guys think sets you guys apart from other promotions in Central Illinois? And like I told you, there is one thing that you two got that nobody else out there has got, and I'll tell you that if you don't figure it out.
Go. Oh, me first?
Yeah, I don't care. Mike, JC, why don't you go first?
Mike JC. That's your new name. Right?
Yeah.
JC is my new name.
Like you don't have enough nicknames
No.
to go by.
Oh gosh, what sets us apart
Right.
from other promotions in Central Illinois? We use a lot of different talent than other people. Pretty much, we try to every show. We're in different cities. Man, it's a tough question. I really don't know.
Well, a lot of talent you're using now, a lot of people don't use Matt Cage.
Matt Cage.
Matt Cage. No, the Hooligans. There's quite a few other ones on your last show.
Adam
Yeah.
Evans.
Adam Evans.
Adam Evans is a hell of a guy. I love him.
He hasn't been on anybody else's card in Central Illinois. I don't think he does Newbury, and I think he lives over there. But there's a lot of talent you guys use. That you don't use.
Man, like I said, that's a tough question. It's just everything is just different. We're different from everybody else. Story-wise, talent-wise. Man, I can't think of anything else.
Well, I'll give you a couple things then.
Okay, thank you.
You have a very nice venue.
Okay.
And you do the Titantron, let's say Gawtron,
Oh gosh,
the Gawtron.
Doug's gonna hate that.
But you do the Gawtron at your shows also. It gives you an opportunity to
Yeah,
tell,
well,
tell us a little
that
bit.
was one thing when we were at Newman West had that, and I mean,
Are you talking about the drive-through days?
yes.
I just want to throw that out.
Drive-through days, yes. But when we were at Newman West, I mean, basically we trained at Newman West, and when me and Jackson Pride started Great American Wrestling, the only template we had to follow was the Newman West product. So, I mean, basically for the longest time before Justin took over, a lot of people considered us New Midwest Decatur, I guess.
Why do you think that?
Well, because we had that same style.
Oh, okay.
Sort of thing. But I think in the 5 years that we've been in, we kind of set our own style, I guess you'd say.
All right. Justin?
New Midwest Wrestling is a legacy. I mean, it's been there for almost a decade, if not more, as far as the foundation that built it. I do believe that, because it's been around so long, the reason it's been around so long is because it's ever growing. And not always changing what it was to begin with or changing the heart it was, but growing as like a normal person should, a person's character should, growing up. I mean, it is if you look at it, the first few years of tapes and look at it now, it's a grown up and it's an adult now, and I think it still has a lot of growing to do, and it still can. I
We
think.
both have growing pains.
All right.
Yeah, it's.
You bring up a good point about your legacy in New Midwest. You've already drank your tea.
Yeah. Sorry. I'm a horse.
But you bring up a good point as far as your legacy goes, because you've always been, from when you and I talked, you've always been about building wrestlers and giving them shots that, Rip Mystic gave you when you came in, you know, the odd man out, can I train this guy, blah, blah, blah. You've always been about that. You've always said that. You're not about the big fancy stuff. Let's say you guys switch positions, okay? You've got the roster he has of seasoned veterans, loose term, but
I was like, I mean, like Duggan?
but I mean the guys that are well qualified, the spotlights, and I know some of these guys do wrestle for you every so often, but aren't mainstays on your card. But let's say you've got his roster and you've got your roster. What changes for you at that point? Does it become easier for you? Like, because he has, I mean, you've got to maintain these characters.
I think it'd be harder. Honestly, I think it'd be harder. For one, nothing against, not saying guys on rosters have egos, but you have to deal with your egos. You have to deal with, okay, I got to be in this top spot constantly. I got to be in this top spot constantly. You know, why is this guy getting pushed and I'm not getting pushed? Why is this guy, you know, why is this guy heavyweight champion? I'm not heavyweight champion type of thing. You know, I mean, we have that in JW, don't get me wrong, but it's where New Midwest has your established guys, and you have your Sage Ramseys, your Guy Smiths, your Spencer Powers, Eric Logans, and all that stuff, and your fans know them.
Right.
And you can get comfortable in pushing those guys and pushing those guys and pushing those guys, where, you know, our guys are like, you know, me, you consider our mainstays are, you know, myself, Jackson Pride, you know, the Clarks, I can't think who else is on my roster.
True Talent,
True Talent,
mainstay.
you know, those guys, you know, I mean, I could tell you a lot of guys, especially with True Talent was heavyweight champion. Why is True Talent heavyweight champion? You know,
You asking me?
no, I'm just saying, I have a lot of guys.
Because I don't have an answer for
You
you.
know, why was True Talent heavyweight champion? You know, well, you know, he was heavyweight champion because, you know, he worked a lot towards it. You know, he might not have, after he got sick and all that stuff, and he's kind of building his way back up to that, but, you know, he was an unknown commodity. We're trying to build that character.
Right.
Where, you know, like I could remember where, Mississippi Madman, I don't know if you were owner yet or not, and everybody wanted Mississippi Madman to win that heavyweight championship. And I was even included, you know, Madman's gonna win that belt, Madman's gonna win that belt, and then they don't have him do it, but, you know.
No, he doesn't win it, is what we're saying.
Yeah.
Right.
He doesn't.
Wink.
He doesn't. He didn't win it at that time, you know, and a lot of people get upset. But, you know, you're building that character, and that's how I feel my company would be built. You know, I totally agree with that. So.
Right. So, Justin, let's switch your roles now, okay? And you take over GAW. What kind of philosophies you go into? Because you got some unestablished wrestlers.
I know a lot of GAW's product from what I've seen. I've been to quite a few shows, this, that, and the other. I know the guys. I know a lot of the guys they bring in.
Can we clear up that he wasn't chanting at the end of that one show?
I didn't hear anything about
Okay.
it. So.
Yeah, I don't. Hey, I'm not. Nope. See, you guys thought I was going to say something. You guys thought I was going to say something about. Oh, you see, I thought you thought I was going to say his name there too, huh? Don't deserve it. Anyways. It's. I always work from the ground up with everybody. I mean, I get all these people that, you know, that want to step in line to get booked or whatever, and they want to come in. You know, Brandon Espinoza, I just gave him the world and which direction we can go. You go out there. I threw him out in a match, and he had a great match, and then I was like, all right, now I know what to build off of. If I was to take over a completely new company and have one event, and that first event would be me learning everybody first. Mm-hmm. It would be bare bones minimum, nothing but, you know, straight up matches for the most part, and just see what people, you know, could or could not do.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, like I said, I know them, but that's what I did. I knew New Midwest when I took over, but I still started from the ground up.
You know, and you bring a good, JC, whatever.
Mike JC.
You brought up a good point, you know, talk about egos and everybody having to be in the top spot, you know, and I've always thought that's something you did well, because a lot of the top guys aren't the same top guys that before you took over. You know, Spotlight had a big run. And now, obviously, what we're going to talk about later, Jackpot JD Rogers is in a major storyline. And in previous administrations, I guess I should say, he probably would have never even got that shot. But you've been able to maintain your core guys and build new stars. You feel like that's something you do well, or just kind of something that happened by, oh, look at that.
No, it's along the lines of keeping it fresh.
Right.
You're not going to keep it fresh by changing the guys who've wrestled 15 times before.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying have somebody wrestle somebody they haven't before, because I've had people, I had just recently the Marvel Shane Matthews fought Michael Sharda, which before I ran New Midwest, those guys fought millions of times.
Yeah.
But when it happened, however 2 years later, it was beautiful. But then you have you just got to inject freshness in different places. I mean, there's no real analogy I can come up with at this time about it's just you got to keep it fresh. I mean, the fans, they get fickle. They know when they've seen something too much.
You just can't have the same match over and over again.
And that's not to say that no somebody's bad. If I take somebody from the top spot, just because he's not in the main event and he's, let's say 5th match on the card, he's supposed to get that 5th match on the card. He's supposed to put some energy into that match and keep the fans into it. I like people who go, I put more faith in people who go out first sometimes more than I do last.
I always feel that it doesn't matter what the match is about. What's on the line, what's the story behind the match. As long as it's a fantastic match, they work the crowd, and the match is just unbelievable. It doesn't matter where it's out on the card or who's it in. I mean, this guy could have been the heavyweight champion at the last show.
Yeah.
And he's in the first match of this show, which obviously doesn't really make sense booking-wise, but, it's there, and you just threw it out there, and it was a great match.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, you wouldn't be on the show if you weren't meant to keep the entire show,
right,
entertaining, keep the fans into it. I mean, I don't just put people on the show just to put people on the show. I mean, that's just not what I'm about. I'm not saying that people who aren't in the show aren't worth it. I hate that. They think, oh, I'm not worth it because I'm not being booked in New Midwest Wrestling. And I'm like, no, I just don't have the room. And I got to stay loyal to my guys.
Totally agree.
Right.
Don't get offended because I'm not booking you.
Right.
Or because New Midwest Wrestling isn't booking you.
It's just
wink.
Get emails and phone calls constantly. Hey, can I get booked on your show? And it's like, I don't have a spot for you. I'm sorry.
Now,
and then somebody will come and trash you.
Right. Now, JC, it does seem like you guys, do have kind of a floating roster, though. You have brought in several different people over the past few months. I don't want to say, but if you look at numbers, it might be just about damn half your roster, kind of in and out.
If we call it like a rebuilding. We're rebuilding. We're in a new venue. We're having our growing. So I get to quote Justin, we're growing, and we're cutting the fat, we're trimming the fat. We don't need this guy, we don't need this guy, not because he's a good wrestler or nothing like that, but we just don't. He doesn't want to go the direction we want him to go, or something like that. And I know one of the questions you're going to say is, why don't you get rid of Gavin Alexander?
No, I wasn't going to say that.
We weren't going to say his name.
I know. And it's no bones. Everybody knows I don't. We weren't going to say his name. I don't like Gavin. I don't like Larry. I don't. And you and I have talked about that. But I know what Gavin and that character means to GAW. So
yeah. Well, I'm going to say, and his work rate's not the greatest. But you tell him to go out there and do it, he'll go out there and do it. And
not well. Boom!
You said.
Okay, hey. I get one. One.
If he had just said it, I would have. But
no, I want to go on record. You can finish your point in a second. But Larry, by God, Jennings could be so much more if he actually gave a damn and stopped giving a damn about himself and himself alone. You're not a wrestler. You're not somebody. Start trying to be one, though. I don't. Just because I talk down to people doesn't mean I talk down about people. I wish the best for everybody. And when...
I've told Larry that many times.
But stop being a fan of yourself and just start working harder. Larry, you can do this. If you really want to do this thing right, do it. I'm sick and tired of telling your stories and laughing about them. I want to be like, hey, this is
I love
Larry Jennings. He's actually doing pretty good. He doesn't look like an upside down apple anymore. You know, I want him.
Maybe a pear.
Yeah, I want somebody. I want to tell good stories about this place, and it's people like Larry Jennings that give me a reason not to. I'm not proud of Central Illinois wrestling.
I want to make it clear that we're talking about Larry Jennings and his seriousness of wrestling,
Not Gavin Elliott.
and not the character Gavin. I mean, Larry Jennings has some issues he can't get right about in his mind about wrestling. That's my biggest problem. Is when you talk to the guy, he's so damn clueless
Call me Pandora.
about what wrestling is. I mean,
I won't say that because, like I said, you know, he can be a good character. He could be a good wrestler. Anybody could be. I mean, if I'm doing this for how long now, there's no reason anybody else shouldn't.
we're going to get off later. We'll get back to you guys. What I want to talk to you about, you kind of sparked my interest earlier about wrestling and matches. And both of you guys, I always said your comedy work is hands down. And I beg you all the time to just do comedy because I love comedy matches anyways.
I'm not an animal.
I know. Or a whore. But anyways, and Justin, you and I have talked on the nosebleed seats last time you were here that I just didn't enjoy some of your matches that you had. But now, with that said, lately I've enjoyed both of yours. I think your ring work has been second to none lately. Honestly, I mean, you do stuff that you know you do well, and you've been telling a fantastic story with everything. And the same with you. You know, you go out there and you do, and I think, you know, people that you've had around you, you've been able to highlight and do what you do well. I'm not going to say those people around you have been that good. But I mean, you highlight what you do well, and that's what you do. And that's, as from a fan standpoint, that's all I ever ask from anybody. Do you realize you've done that, or do you think you're still in the same mind frame you were a year and a half ago when we sat down and talked?
Well, I think, I don't know. It's that growing thing. I mean, I wouldn't say that I've changed because of what you said.
I didn't say that.
Well, but no, I mean, even so, like, I don't listen to the negative stuff half as much as I do the positive stuff that I hear from people. I mean, if there's ever a negative word and it's about me, trust me, I've heard it. Right. Whether you guys think so or not, I've heard it. But the positive stuff is what really motivates people, and that's what I try to do when I try to motivate people too. I don't, you know, like I just did with what's his name. I don't, you know, I'm not going to say it ever again. Right. Is that, you know, I'd rather say, you know, you can do this. Other than stop doing this. This is stupid. I'd rather say this is good. Let's work on this. There's no forward motion. That's my cliche phrase right there. Is forward motion. You always got to have forward motion. There's no forward motion in talking negative about something. Right. None at all. I mean, if I knock this guy down, does that raise my you know, my panel? Does that raise where I'm at? No, it doesn't. That knocks that guy down and lowers that bar. I don't want that.
Why do you think people get so offended when you won't book them or you won't put them on a card?
It's just their own attitudes. I mean, they get offended. I mean, there's times where I get offended when my name doesn't come up in, like, you know, certain people's mouths. I mean, regardless of what it is.
I mean, I've called, just to kind of what I mean is I'll read somebody's blog and they'll trash you for not putting them on their show, you know, and then I'll call you like, what do you got against so-and-so? Or what'd you do? And you're like, he called, I don't have a spot for him.
Yeah, well, that's,
you know, and
like I said, I'm not gonna book anybody just because I'm not booking them. Don't get offended because I'm not doing it. Don't be offended because you're not working at New Midwest Wrestling. That should actually open you up for another date somewhere else. GAW runs every time I don't, so there you go. I mean, every time I do, so.
There's always a spot.
All right, let's move on. Back to GAW and New Midwest. What, JC, we'll start with you. What's been your favorite moment thus far this year in GAW?
This year, it's returning back to Decatur.
Right.
Well, actually 2 for me personally. And,
I only asked for 1.
well, I might say
No, I'm just
2. GAW as a company coming back to Decatur, coming to Skywalker, and me personally was holding the first annual Peggy Cooper Invitation.
Oh, congratulations on that, by the way. Which was won by Cecil Cerveza,
Cecil Cerveza.
who is one of the, by far, hands down, one of the most underrated wrestlers in Central Illinois.
I don't know about underrated, but I think he's a great wrestler.
Right.
But underrated is not. That's one of those sexy words. I think if he was, I think he works hard for his spots and he gets them. You know, he does well at New Breed. He does well at at GAW. He does well at SLW.
He's humble.
There's nothing underrated about him. He does what he works hard and he does well and he gets his rewards from it.
I've always liked somebody like Cecil, who's such a nice guy. He always makes it a point at a show, no matter what he's doing, to come over and say hi to me. And I mean, even if that's the only conversation we have, I mean, I've seen him walking out of places and turn around and look at me and come over and say hi to me. So I mean, great guy. I really like Cecil.
I like
good
him
ring
a
work.
lot.
Very good ring work. Dustin?
Hands down, Ben's winning the heavyweight title. I mean, that was something that was completely genuine. I mean, honestly, that was the fans wanting to see him do it, not us wanting, not New Midwest as an office wanting to give Ben's the push towards the title. That was the fans doing it for him. I mean, say what you will about him. There's nobody, I mean, save one, that could rival the popularity of him right now.
Right. Yeah, the crowd loves him.
Yeah.
Loves him to death. I actually, I walked in on your main event right before it started at, what show was that? The 6-man.
2 months ago.
And I sat there with Moe, and I was telling Moe about halfway through the match, again, like I was talking about, those guys in that ring, Benz, Billy Morgan,
Toga.
Mississippi Madman, and Scotty Cash.
And John Magnus.
No.
John Magnus was in the 6th man. Was Stephanie King?
Yeah, you're right. I'm sorry. These guys aren't doing anything flamboyant. They aren't out there flipping off the top ropes or doing any kind of fancy moves. These guys are just wrestling. And they're telling a great story, and the crowd is absolutely eating it up. Because these are all guys that have been there for years.
Yeah.
And to be able to build a story like that to where you got all these personalities now in the ring together, I mean, the crowd is just going nuts.
Yeah,
it was a great moment.
Even
if it was just a one little show and just helping build that storyline for all those guys, it was still a great moment. I was very happy to be there. It was the only match I watched that night.
Yeah, because you got there late.
Yeah.
As my shows end before 11:30.
So this is.
Okay, good. And whose is it that goes until like 11?
We're getting to that.
Okay.
All right. Anyways, Ben, you got any others?
Ben's that was a good build. I mean, the fans put him behind different places. I mean, I went up against him, and I've never felt goosebumps after a guy hitting me with a move before.
Right.
And he came in that tackle, and boom, and there I was knocked out, but I felt him. I was boom.
All right.
I
I like Ben's too. It's just, I don't know how he is to you guys, but a few times I've talked to him, just so humble.
He is.
yeah.
Well, that's the thing is that, if you want to talk about somebody, everybody's like, oh, New Midwest is all about politics. That's one guy I've never even got the remote hint of politicking at all. That guy has been there almost since day one. I mean, he's been there longer than, more than 90% of the people back there.
Right.
And he worked hard, and that was his moment right there, and he deserved every single bit of it.
One of the things I hate about doing the nosebleeds, sometimes I feel like I'm too much of a critic. I'll sit there and I'll pick everything apart, which I absolutely hate to do. But every so often it happens. Last year, Benz and Scotty Cash were feuding. Is when you were still at the warehouse.
Okay.
And it was whoever lost, PH was going to lose his commissioner job. You know what I'm talking about? And it was a whole spoof. And it was so beautifully done. Because pat him on the back, would you, for a second? And I mean, it was so well done. And you just love moments like that you just totally don't see coming. But anyways, okay. Moving on from your guys' promotion, another promotion. NGW has changed so much over the past year. Dramatic, and that's a kind of a loose word in itself, terms and changing of rosters and everything else. Where do you guys think this puts NGW as far as Central Illinois promotions?
NGW's always been near and dear to my heart because other than 2 other people that are still working with that place, I was there pretty early. Big Papa has been there forever. He's been there since that place was born. The promoter has been there 2 weeks longer than I have, when I started it, I should say, because there's been times where I haven't been with them, but it's been a baby of mine. I don't want to run it. I have my thing with New Midwest, and I love the direction that they're taking now. Is that they're learning that whole growing session. They're learning what it's taken to grow. I mean, there's the few kinks they still have to knock out. The new roster, or the changing roster, having more of a floating roster now.
Right.
They're learning what's worked and what doesn't. I mean, I went through that whole thing when I took over New Midwest. I tried different avenues and found out that they stop certain places. And as long as you're trying the different ones, you're going to learn what works. I mean, and you're not going to sit there and say, oh, I'm not going to do that because that won't work. You're going to try it and see if it does. And if it doesn't, then boom, you were right. And then you could have went down this road and go down that road. That's fine. But you're never going to know unless you try. I think NGW has really good shows. Their posters are top notch. I don't know who does their posters, but whoever trained that kid is awesome.
You notice on those posters, Nick Brubaker's eyes look a little weird?
You know, some all those posters, Nick Brubaker's on it. I don't.
That's weird, ain't it? That's weird. It's kind of like Matt Cage being on your poster, but not really even being kind of weird. They're not even being a part of like what that poster's about. But hey, he's on there.
Well, that's the thing, 'cause that came up as Nick Brubaker's guyliner, and I just want to let you know, I think it's. I want to choose my words wisely here. I don't think it's the most masculine thing in the world either, but at least that's something that you can point out about him. That's the thing, because you got to be different. He's the only guy that wears guyliner. Thank God. You know?
Yeah.